Oh, that's better. We're back with another Dune review. I like the late night readings, bro. These late night readings been putting in work, man. We're on chapters 25, 24, and 25, and these were hefty chapters, bro. These were pretty dense. Like, reading-wise, they were dense, but for what the chapters were trying to do, summary-wise, they're, like, pretty short and cut and dry, if that makes sense. So, and I'll explain. You'll see what I mean. So, with chapter 24, we cut back to Hawat now. He has, like, a couple soldiers with him after the raid of, the Hirokans and the Empire with the Sarudans. It's just the Empire's special forces. We'll call them that. Empire Special Forces and the Hirokans raided the House of Atreides, took them out. So now afterwards, Hawat and some of his soldiers escaped, and Hawat is like looking back at what happened, bro. He's like, bro, they sent out like a lot of soldiers to take us out. He said there was up to like 50 legions of soldiers and whatnot to like attack their base. And also trying to figure out the traitor too, because like he realized as well that there had to be like some traitor who to bring down the shield generator so all the troops would come in. And mind you, like a legion is like 5,000 soldiers, and this man said he thought it was like about 50 legions invading their fortress. So just an insane amount of soldiers to attack them. And he also realized too that it would take like a lot of money to do that. Like the amount of spice it will cost to support all these soldiers and whatnot will be, he said, like 50 years of spice mining and whatnot to pay for all this. So he knows that the Hirokans really were putting balls to wall for this plan to make sure the House Atreides was taken out. And then we also get Hawat thinking, saying, "Hey, yo, listen, I think it was Jessica. Jessica's the betrayer. She did this to us, and when he gets to her, he's going to take her out, bro. He wants his revenge." So, moving forward, some freemen pop up. And Hawat's talking to like this one freeman. And like Hawat's trying to get this freeman as an ally. But the freeman's speaking in kind of like this weird code almost. It's really hard to explain. Because the way the freeman was speaking, it was his native tongue. Not even his native tongue. The way Hawat said, like, they speaking like this naive directness almost. And because the conversation practically landed on the freeman being, "Hey, listen, you have soldiers, these guys are water, are going to make the sacrifice to take these soldiers out to get that water. Because you guys can survive the desert and whatnot." That was practically the conversation, like him saying, "What are you going to do about these soldiers, like this water that could be used?" And then they come to this agreement almost, or like this unifying of their villages almost, because Hawat said he works for Lisa Agib. Like, he wants to serve him. He wants to shed water for him almost. And then the freeman was like, "Oh, word? Okay, bet. I got you at that point." One of the soldiers then said, "Hey, homie died." And the freeman was like, "Oh, okay, bet. We'll do a ceremony for him and drain his water and whatnot." And the soldier's like, "Hey, what do you mean by it?" The soldiers don't like this tradition because it seems very... What's the word I'm looking for? Invasive, I think the ceremony is. But it's a tradition out of respect. Like, Hawat's trying to explain, like, it's a tradition out of respect. They're not trying to respect his body or whatnot. And the freeman's like, "Hey," he also taps into, like, "Hey, this is out of respect. Like, we are a family now. We are a tribe. And we're going to do all the necessary precautions to, take care of your boy and probably drain him of his water and whatnot." Cool. Then Hawat also, while speaking to these guys, realized that they fought the Empire's special militia, and they took them out with ease. And they were saying like, "Oh, they were such like a fun fight. It was the greatest fight ever." Yada yada, and also that we only lost 2 men, but we took out like a bunch of their men. And Hawat's like, "What?" Because again, these are like the military special forces. You know what I mean? I'm going to learn later on in the chapter, but like when the emperor or the empire wants to take out somebody, he uses those special forces. And the Hirokans, not the Hirokans, the Freemen being able to like, fight these guys and actually win each exchange is really insane. And that blows Watt's mind, make him want to think like, hey, if we could have had these guys earlier, trained them up, we could have actually like taken on these guys. You know what I mean? And now Watt's think like, okay, at this point, let's be odds with them and whatnot to try to bolster up so we get, my vengeance against at least Jessica. That's what Watt's thinking at the moment. Also, Gurney escaped the planet. Like, I think got off on a smuggler ship, and he's off planet right now. So Gurney's safe as well. So while this is going on, a Rokan ship comes by, scouting, and then Hawa sees in action, like, these freemen taking out the special militia with ease. Then also, he sees the freemen's, I want to say determination or drive, because like one freeman sacrificed himself to take like a whole carrier of soldiers. So it was like one guy died that killed like 300 people, and he did that with pride as well. So he just all sees like their, I think the word is determination. I feel like there's a better word. We're just gonna use determination. The freeman's determination when it comes to these fights. So now at this point, they're getting ready to leave to go to these freemen special base, and then they get ambushed by another group of the militia. The militia like throws a knife, takes out the freeman he's been talking to, and then Hawa gets hit with practically like a stun gun, and he knocks out. And that's into chapter 24. We then go to 25. There we go. And that was a solid chapter. I really like 25 actually. 25 was pretty solid. Because Paul was kind of like in his bag when trying to do this politic business. You feel me? I'm sorry, like, I don't know what's been going on today, but my sneezes have not been coming out. My burps have not been coming out like how I want them to. It's been like a very weird day. And it happened, like, if I had a nickel for every time I had to sneeze today and I didn't sneeze, I'll have 2 nickels. Which isn't like a lot, but it's weird that it happened 2 times today. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know what's going on. I hope I get like a good sneeze off sometime tonight, bros. It's a weird edge. But anyway, 24. Paul, his mother Jessica, on the run trying to avoid his copters, and then Duncan, Dr. Kynes, another Freeman pop up to save him. Like, hey, we got you. Who off the bam? And they hear an explosion in the background, and then we learn that when a lasgun is a shield, that creates like a giant explosion, almost like onto the degree of like an atomic. That's what Jessica thought was atomic going off, but no, it's just like a lasgun hitting a shield. And so like with that tactic, right, it's kind of like a scare attack when it comes to fighting, because at that point your enemy's like, oh, they're using shield tech, we should be using lasguns. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's like a fake out, if anything, because they probably don't have shields, right? And then like at that point, well, we think they're using shields, so we're not going to use our lasguns, we're just going to use like basic artillery. But if we do use lasguns and they have the shield, then we all die. So it's like a gamble. It's like a 50-50, like, are they using a shield or are they not using a shield? And we're going to risk using a lasgun if they're going to be using shields. So that's kind of cool. Oh, also with chapter 24, we learned something. Because the Freeman was sung to a Watt. He was like, oh, while out there, turn off your mini shield generators, because that could attract, he paused and said worms. So at that point, Hawa's thinking like, what else do these shield generators like attract? Like what else do the shield generators do out in the open desert? That's what Hawa was thinking. Cool, just wanted to get that segue in. So moving on, Kynes takes Duncan and Paul and Jessica to his little base, and it turned out to be like those researcher bases that Little was looking for. And Paul knows like, oh, this is what my dad was looking for. You know what I mean? So they finally found that. They ended up chatting up. And part of the conversation was like, Paul needs Kynes' help. And if Kynes is loyal to Paul will be loyal to Kynes. That was the conversation. And Kynes kind of respected how Paul was moving in the conversation. He was like expecting how Paul was kind of like becoming a man. His mom was seeing that as well. And even like, well, like, his like overall plan too of trying to like to blackmail the emperor to make what's he face, so he could then have the power to make Arrakis a paradise, because Kynes wants Arrakis to be like, this beautiful paradise, and Paul's like, I can give that to you, and also we could, if you help me with what I'm trying to do, I'll blackmail the emperor to make Arrakis a paradise. Because mind you, the blackmail is that the emperor wanted to take out House Atreides, because again his special militia is there. He wanted House Atreides to be taken out. So Paul has this as blackmail, because if he releases blackmail, everyone will be on edge right now, like, oh, wait a second, the emperor will want to take out my house at some point, and that's not good, and they will rebel against the emperor, be like all out galaxy war. We don't want that. So to blackmail him is be like, hey, listen, make me emperor now, marry off to one of your daughters. Because again, we also learned in this chapter that, it was a couple chapters ago, that the emperor only has daughters, no sons. So at that point, Paul will become emperor, gets married into the household, then also keep his promise to Kynes. Boom. That was it. That was a good summary right there. Again, like, it was dense, but when it comes to summarizing it, it's very cut and dry. You know what I mean? So moving on, at that conversation after they, kind of like made that bung, like, hey, listen, I would die for you type deal. Oh, they hear scuffling in the background. It turns out the special militia is back again and attacking this. They found this base. So Duncan, Idaho then sacrificed himself for them to go in a tunnel. And Kynes is going to go a different way while they go a different direction. So they're going to kind of like split up. But Kynes said, listen, some Freeman will find you. Like, they know to look for you. You'll be straight. Go in the storm. Hide out. The Freeman will find you. I'm going to go my old way, kind of distract them, and then like head out. That was Kynes' plan, right? So then they go to the chopper, follow the tunnel, and while he's trying to get the chopper ready or whatnot with his mom, Paul made this realization that he was kind of like abusing his foresight, and that's kind of like a weakness, because like right now in the situation, in this moment of like, scurry and hurry, he's not all the way there, and like he's not present. And so, like, him not being present is kind of like, hindering himself in that moment when he could have been, fully aware in this moment, focused and locked in to make things make things smooth. Now, that's not it. To have more seamless process when it came to, like, this plane right here to get on the chopper. So, at that point, Paul said if he survives the situation, he's not going to try to, like, abuse, like, the future sight and only use it when necessary, kind of. So, he's, like, always, like, present when need be, but when it's time to use his precondition of future sight, he'll use it. You know what I mean? They use it. They then get chased by a Hirokin chopper, and they're using old school weapons, which is like guns and rockets, because they're afraid to use lasguns, because again, they think that they're probably using a shield generator right now, and they don't want a atomic explosion. You feel me? So they then fly into the storm, and they're trying to beat the storm, and that's how the chapter ended. So overall, I like these two chapters. I really like 25 for sure. 24 was good just to show how cool the Freemen are when it comes to combat, and how they are a different level, and how Leto was running to thinking like if we could like utilize the Freemen, we will be set. So now that chapter was kind of just proving that point. And now with this chapter with 25, we're just Paul making allies, and then kind of like reaffirming his will to get back at the Hirokins and strike them down and get his get back for everything he did to his family and whatnot. You feel me? So yeah, overall, a good batch of chapters. I'm excited. We're almost to the ending of the movie. We need to go find the dual part, read the dual part, and we should be set. So I'm excited for that. And then at that point, we will be watching the Dune movie on Twitch, whatever that will be. We'll set the date. I'll make a video about it. About me watching the movie and whatnot. Go do a little watch party. But yeah, that's it for this review, guys. Hopefully y'all enjoyed me yapping. It was fun, bro. I'm enjoying this book thoroughly. We are halfway there, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Halfway there. Man, I can't wait to get on the side, bro. I can't wait for that. But that's it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. Like the video, subscribe, all that great stuff. I'll see y'all later, okay?